For nearly 2 millennia, the Ethiopian Orthodox Church has stood as a beacon of faith, culture, and resilience. One of the world's oldest Christian institutions, it shaped Ethiopia's identity, weaving faith into the soul of a nation. Yet over the past 40 years, that ancient foundation has come under attack. A silent persecution has devastated the faithful, and a cultural genocide has quietly unfolded away from the world's eyes. This is the story of that struggle, a story of resilience against overwhelming forces. In 1991, a small revolutionary group known as the Tigray People's Liberation Front, or TPLF, seized political power in Ethiopia. Emerging from the northern region of Tigray, where 98% of the population identified as indigenous Orthodox Christians, the TPLF quickly changed the nation's balance. Instead of protecting their Christian heritage, the TPLF leadership weaponized division. They aligned the historic Orthodox Church with images of oppression and elitism. Through state-sponsored propaganda, Orthodox Christianity was portrayed as a relic of the past, foreign to Ethiopia's emerging new identity. To extend their control, the TPLF politicized the church itself, appointing loyal monks to positions of authority, silencing traditional voices, and eroding the spiritual strength of the institution from within. The destruction did not come from within alone. Foreign religious organizations flooded Ethiopia with billions of dollars under the guise of aid and evangelism. Western Protestant movements found fertile ground, offering economic incentives to the desperate and the disillusioned. The TPLF government provided legal protections for these groups, allowing active proselytization efforts aimed at indigenous Orthodox Christians. Entire communities facing poverty and social marginalization were torn apart by religious conversion campaigns. At the same time, the TPLF shifted its focus towards strengthening Islamic institutions. Ethiopia's traditionally peaceful Islamic traditions, characterized by Sufism, were undermined. Radical teachings, imported from abroad, began to spread, replacing centuries of religious coexistence with aggressive expansionism. The state encouraged this transformation, turning religious communities against one another and fueling conflicts that still burn today. Across Ethiopia, indigenous Orthodox Christians became targets of violence, humiliation, and displacement. In Jimma, churches were burned to the ground. In Jigjiga, believers were slaughtered simply for refusing to abandon their faith. In Sidama, Wallo, Bale, and countless other regions, entire villages were emptied as Christians were forced to flee or face death. Thousands were killed. Tens of thousands were displaced. In many cases, those who survived were coerced into converting to other religions under threat of violence or economic starvation. The scale of suffering was immense, yet little was reported. The world remained silent. In 2018, when Abiy Ahmed became prime minister, many hoped for change. But instead, the persecution of Orthodox Christians escalated. Although TPLF was pushed back from Addis Ababa, the new leadership, heavily influenced by Protestant and Muslim elites, continued the marginalization of indigenous Orthodox communities. The violence became more scattered, but no less brutal. Attacks flared in cities and villages alike, from Shuarobit to Zuwe, from Benishangul to Addis Ababa itself. Today, more than 50 towns and cities bear the scars of targeted violence against Ethiopia's original Christians. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church is more than a building, more than a symbol. It is the spiritual heart of a people. And today, that heart is under threat like never before. Yet faith endures in the quiet prayers of the faithful, in the broken but unyielding churches, in the memory of the martyrs whose names the world may never know. This is a call, not just to remember, but to act, to stand for the dignity of an ancient faith and for a people whose story must not be forgotten. The silent struggle continues, and it demands to be heard.